Welcome to the NCAA Women's Basketball Championship presented by Capital One. Our second game of the day from Gill Coliseum hits 6th seed George Washington, the Atlantic 10 Conference champions, against 11 seed Gonzaga, an at-large qualifier from the West Coast Conference. The teams here in Corvallis, Oregon are playing for an opportunity to advance to Spokane. Oregon State won our first game and they await the winner of this game. With former Florida three-point specialist Steffi Sorensen, I'm Kara Capuano. Long week for Gonzaga, Steffi, as they waited to hear their name called Selection Monday. But the Bulldogs are indeed in their 7th straight NCAA tournament. They're a team that's seasoned and used to being here.
Well, Gonzaga, the thing that's plagued this team this season has been turnovers. They have to do a much better job of handling George Washington's pressure. And they're going against Jonquel Jones, who's a 6'4" guard forward who can lead the break. She can also kill you on the glass, too. So something to watch for today.
Our Capital One starting lineups: George Washington working inside out behind Jonquel Jones, and number 3, Kyra Washington for Gonzaga. All 5 starters upperclassmen. Watch number 14, Sunny Greiniker. She leads the Bulldogs in scoring. And we are ready to tip our second game of the afternoon. George Washington in white, Gonzaga in gray. Tip goes out of bounds. Colonial. Welcome to the NCAA Women's Basketball Championship presented by Capital One. Our second game of the day from Gill Coliseum hits 6th seed George Washington, the Atlantic 10 Conference champions, against 11 seed Gonzaga, an at-large qualifier from the West Coast Conference. The teams here in Corvallis, Oregon are playing for an opportunity to advance to Spokane. Oregon State won our first game and they await the winner of this game. With former Florida three-point specialist Steffi Sorensen, I'm Kara Capuano. Long week for Gonzaga, Steffi, as they waited to hear their name called Selection Monday. But the Bulldogs are indeed in their 7th straight NCAA tournament. They're a team that's seasoned and used to being here.
Well, Gonzaga, the thing that's plagued this team this season has been turnovers. They have to do a much better job of handling George Washington's pressure. And they're going against Jonquel Jones, who's a 6'4" guard forward who can lead the break. She can also kill you on the glass, too. So something to watch for today.
Our Capital One starting lineups: George Washington working inside out behind Jonquel Jones, and number 3, Kyra Washington for Gonzaga. All 5 starters upperclassmen. Watch number 14, Sunny Greiniker. She leads the Bulldogs in scoring. And we are ready to tip our second game of the afternoon. George Washington in white, Gonzaga in gray. Tip goes out of bounds. Colonial basketball.
Kara, the player that'll start on Jonquel Jones is Shelby Cheslick, the 6'5" redshirt junior.
Patiently, they tried to get the ball to Jones. Gonzaga's defense with other ideas.
A smart play by Cheslick to just back tip it out.
Three-point shot off the mark for Ellie Tinkle, but the putback will go. Gonzaga cleaning up the offensive glass for the first basket of the game. Jones denied in that drive down the leg. Lisa Fortier, in her first year at the helm of the Gonzaga Bulldogs, longtime assistant for Kelly Graves, who moved on to Oregon, and she was named the West Coast Conference Coach of the Year. Tinkle draws Jones on the defense, then Jones gets pinned up, allows an open shot to fly. Possession arrow belongs in the favor of Gonzaga. Jonathan Sippis is in his 3rd year at the helm of George Washington, the Atlantic 10 Coach of the Year, as he gets the Colonials back to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2008 this season.
Coach Sippis is a great story.
Albanez for three.
And she's streaky, Kara. There's times where you question some of her shot selection, but she hits her first one, she's certainly going to start looking for a shot more. But the first one going in is key for Gonzaga.
Shannon Cranshaw stepped on the line. Turnover by the Colonials, their third.
I think the game plan for Gonzaga coming into George Washington and facing Jonquel Jones is you try to get her in foul trouble, because in the A-10 championship, Jonquel Jones got in foul trouble in the first half. Completely different George Washington team. The second half, she played completely different George Washington team. So she's already got one right now.
Gritty drive for the junior guard, Georgia Sturton out of Melbourne, Australia. Another turnover by the Colonials. They're fourth.
Great transition defense by George Washington. That's something they practiced for a good 30 minutes in practice yesterday. But then you give it right back, yeah.
Sturton made that turnover happen by reaching in and trying to wrestle the ball away from Washington. Offensive foul called on Chesley.
I like the decision to put Albanez on the point guard. The senior point guard, Shakisha Miller. Let's try to take some time off the shot clock.
Colonials with 5 turnovers have not yet attempted a field goal in this game. Here's the first one and a make for Hannah Shively. Tinkle working hard, short on the shot. Somebody needs to give Greiniger some help down there. Sturton to the basket, back iron. A real attack mentality exhibited thus far for Gonzaga. That pass in transition long, 6th turnover for the Colonials of George Washington.
Number 4, Lauren Chase, for the Colonials, replacing Miller.
Keisha Miller takes a seat. We put in the senior Lauren Chase to run the point, number 4 in white. Describe Gonzaga's offensive style, Steffi.
Well, they certainly like to look at the pick and roll, but there's no doubt when they get out in transition, they're a different team. That's why George Washington spent about 30 minutes in practice going over it, because they like to get the ball, get it, and go. It starts with Greiniger and getting her the ball, establishing some inside presence with Chesley, and then kicking out to some of their guards. And Ellie Tinkle's really come along in her scoring in the later stretches of this season.
Cranshaw, back iron. Sturton Skies for the rebound. Haven't really seen much yet for number 14 in gray, Sunny Greiniger. Albanez aggressive to the basket. She's got 5.
Keani Albanez.
George Washington very much a front court heavy team with Jonquel Jones and Kyler Washington. It starts with them inside and offensive rebounding.
First basket of the game for Jonquel Jones. A putback off a Cranshaw miss, and then a mistake by Gonzaga. George Washington ready to make a little run. Gonzaga strong early on. Here in our second game in Corvallis, Oregon, it's 11 seed Gonzaga with a 5-point advantage over 6 seed George Washington. Kara Capuano and former Florida team captain Steffi Sorensen with you from Corvallis this weekend. And Steffi, Gonzaga has started very strong offensively. What's working well?
I think the execution in the half court in the NCAA tournament is so important to be successful. We'll take a look at one of their plays that led them to that. And it's a simple screen away, double screen away for Keani Albanez. And she comes off this ready to score. Catch, one dribble, is able to get to the line. And that's moving with a purpose, cutting with a purpose, and then the screen's very effective. If you don't communicate on those, you get lost, and Albanez, an easy look for her.
Lisa Fortier told us one thing that's been a concern this year for Gonzaga, turnovers, but in the early goings, it's George Washington with 6 miscues to only 3 for the Bulldogs. Jones taking a break for the Colonials, so Lauren Chase goes to work. Those two were high school teammates at Riverdale Baptist back in the day.
She's really fought to get on the court. She's battled concussions throughout her entire career.
Travel whistled against Gonzaga. Shaniqua Millis, one too many steps. Bradley draws the double team baseline, throws it away.
Those are turnovers that George Washington is just doing to themselves. They're putting them in positions not to be successful, picking up your dribble in the corner where you know traps are coming. Just not smart basketball.
Lineker down the lane. Strong cut. Quick basket the other way. First attempt won't fall for Shively. Kelly Frangie will head to the line. Fans, the women's championship continues Saturday on ESPN2. 11 o'clock Eastern. The early coverage features Green Bay against Princeton. Princeton, the only team in the field undefeated. That's on the women's side. On the men's side, Kentucky is also undefeated. Women's basketball championship presented by Capital One.
Princeton's an interesting story coming into this tournament, Kara, is why they're, they were given enough respect with the seeding that they got. I think it's a great matchup to see, did the committee get it right or did the committee get it wrong?
Similar to this one, a pair of teams from mid-major conferences. Like Lisa Fortier told us, it could be worse. You know, if you're an 11 seed, sometimes you end up drawing a 6 seed from a power conference, maybe a higher RPI, but you don't get much higher than George Washington's RPI this year, 29-3 on the season. They really took care of business in the Atlantic 10.
Yeah, and don't think that they don't feel slighted the fact that maybe they didn't get the opportunity to host as well, finishing the season very strong, obviously.
Tinkle for 3, long. Washington skied for that rebound. Stays with their head up, looking for opportunity. From the corner, a strong cut. But Lexi Chandler denied. Gonzaga with a 4-point advantage. Tinkle trying to flex her offensive muscles. Still scoreless in this one. And the whistle.
What's really impressed me about Gonzaga so far in this game, it hasn't been the first effort or second effort, it's been the third effort. They've been consistent, they've tried to get all the loose balls, and I think those are the little things in these type of games that matter and make a difference.
Wolfram hits the first free throw. The redshirt freshman out of Kamloops, BC, made the All-WCC freshman team this year. Balanced scoring has been the key for Gonzaga. Fortier brought up, that's how these two teams contrast. And George Washington has a defined star in Jonquel Jones inbounding the ball. Whereas Gonzaga, it's truly been a team effort.
It's hard to game plan for is who do you stop? I mean, some of the options that they have especially with Ellie Tinkle. And I think, last year it was really about defense and rebounding for her. This year she's really upped her scoring, and that's made Gonzaga a different team. And obviously Greiniger handles some of the paint work.
Takes ahead to Chandler, gets it back. Jonquil Jones just looked at the point guard and said, "What are we running?" Nice communication out there. Prangy tries to work it into Jones. Aggressive pass from Kelly Prangy. Get number 35 the ball however you can. Greiniger calling for it. Draws the double team, blocked by Prangy. Walk whistled on Chandler.
Take a look at Jonquil Jones scoring, and she posts so hard, gets to the block, seals off her defender. Just catch easy. Look how high she skies up to the rim. That's close to dunking, Kara. That's not where I used to, I never hovered around the rim.
I prefer well below the rim. Both of us like beyond the arc. That's right where Millis found that shot open. Offensive foul whistled on the Colonials.
Offensive foul number 4, Lauren Chase. First personal, fourth team foul.
Fourth team foul.
You expect differently when you're leaving in transition from your point guard to be more heady, to not just drive in there and charge out of control, especially after a Gonzaga make. And you're going to use some of that momentum. You want to come down and take a smart shot and not just continue to feed into Gonzaga's momentum.
George Washington averages under 18 turnovers a game. They already have 9, and we're not even halfway through the first half. Millis straight at Prangy. Great hands for number 25.
Gonzaga foul number 22, Shadiqa
Mike
Millis.
Stout
First
defensively.
personal,
Yeah,
15
my biggest question for George Washington is, if you take Jonquil Jones out of the game and she's not scoring, who's going to step up? We mentioned Gonzaga having a well-balanced offense. Well, for George Washington, other players are going to have to step up, because scouting in the NCAA tournament is such a premium. Teams really know your weaknesses, and that's a scout. Take her away, who's going to step up and score? And we'll find out.
Prangy, number 25, averages 8 a game. She's in for Kyra Washington, who usually pours in over 12. Jump ball. Colonials with the possession arrow. When we return, it'll be George Washington ball, the 6th seed, trailing by 7 to 11 seed Gonzaga.
Kevin Agandi in studio, looking at the 1 seed here, and that is Notre Dame hosting Montana. One of the best players in the land, Jewel Lloyd. Give her some space, and this is what happens. That'll fall. And right now, the Irish up by 12 points midway through the first half. Other games, Cal with a 2-point lead on their home floor. Syracuse up by 3 in Columbia. Back to Karen Steppe.
Kevin, thank you. You were talking about Montana's women's program. In the house, the former Montana men's head coach, now the head coach here at Oregon State, Wayne Tinkle. He is the father of Gonzaga junior, Ellie Tinkle. Tough to leave the Treasure State. And after 8 years at his alma mater, including 5 years as an assistant before that, he decided to take the opportunity here in Corvallis. Tinkle family hosted Gonzaga for a big team dinner, their first night in town. Nice off the bounce by Hannah Shively. Now running the point for Gonzaga. Emma Stahl, number 42 there with the ball. Jones closes out. Such an active defender, the Atlantic 10 Defender of the Year, Jonquel Jones. Albanez in and out. Rebound, JJ.
She really redirects people when they come off the on-ball. She does a hard hedge, and she's so long and lengthy that it takes people out of their offense.
Shively for 3. Jones tries to tip it back. Effective. Shively hits the deck hard. We're talking about the Tinkle family. If you recognize the name, women's basketball fans, Ellie's older sister just behind her papa there, Jocelyn Tinkle. She played at Stanford for years, and there's a nice picture of dad and daughter. Wayne rocking a Gonzaga red jacket tonight, showing his colors in support of his daughter. Of course, he's all orange and black for the men's team most of the time. Actually called Gill Coliseum Fort Wayne during the men's games.
That's what makes this tournament so interesting. You find out little storylines like this.
The second personal foul on Shaniqua Nillis that sent Shively to the line. She hits the second. If you were wondering who's going to be the offensive production for George Washington, if JJ is quieted, and Hannah Shively certainly doing all she can to earn that right. Great steal, outstanding body control for a 6'4" player from Jones. And over on the other end as Miller passes it away. Fans' second round coverage of the Division I Men's Basketball Championship continues today on CBS, TBS, TNT, True TV. For more information on game times and listings, you can visit NCAA.com.
What a tournament it's been, too. Yesterday was
a couple of 14 seeds advancing. Georgia State and UAB. Sending Baylor and Iowa State packing early.
Georgia State's one of those stories where the coach tears his Achilles, blows it out in the championship game. The son's playing for him, hits the shot. I mean, it's just, can't write a better story.
The Iowa State women also sent home today by Dayton, the other tough team out of the Atlantic 10 Conference with George Washington.
Tyler Washington returns to the Colonials, replacing Frank Gee.
Albanez hits the second. 6-point advantage for the Gonzaga Bulldogs. Cranshaw, number 13 in white with the ball, the three-point specialist for this George Washington team.
Washington's got to be more involved offensively. Get to the high post so she can relieve some of the pressure that's coming for JJ in the paint. And they really do work well together. It's a 1-2 punch down low. I mean, we talked about Oregon State earlier with the 1-2 punch that they had, but for this team, it starts with their post plays.
4 seconds on the shot clock on this inbound. Shively's shot does not hit the rim, lands in the hands of the Bulldogs. Good hustle by Shelby Cheslett. Miller almost poked that ball away. Tinkle down the lane. Still scoreless. Miller blows by Stahl. Ran into the trees down there. Tinkle on the break. Mastered by Cranshaw. Ellie Tinkle hits the slide.
She's been extremely aggressive in this first half. Shots just haven't fallen for her, so this is a good opportunity to get out in the fast break, get yourself to the free throw line, and see the ball go through the hoop.
Both teams with 16 fouls. That was a shooting foul charged to Cranshaw. Tinkle a 71% free throw shooter, and that's kind of one of Gonzaga's hallmarks. Is their free throw shooting, 77%, 5th in the nation. Tinkle still trying to just tickle the twine that first time. Sometimes that's all it takes. Now she's seen it go through the basket. Dad Rain watches on. Miller with the drop pass to Washington. Bobbled just enough for Wolfram to block her. The feed down to Wolfram.
Right now, Gonzaga just playing together. Team defense, team offense, they're rotating over. They have size to keep up with JJ and Washington in the post.
Jones with the kick out to Miller. She gets it back. Alas, she does not. Wolfram with the active hands.
Gonzaga starts with her point guard, and the freshman finds Gonzaga post player for the easy look, and I think it's plays like that that set up some of their outside shots where they haven't hit yet. But if you got to go with what's working right now. That's their interior play.
Freshman connection there. Fans at home relaxed, knowing that the cupboard's still full for Gonzaga. Foul in the lane. Jonathan Sippis wants an explanation, and the jacket has come off. Uh-oh, and the stern look.
George Washington foul, number 35, John Crowell Jones. Second personal, 17 foul.
This is a man who doesn't want to lose a game. Here we go, in 3, 2, 1. Jackets off, game on.
Well, and Jonathan Sippis, 9-year assistant, several years as the associate head coach under Muffet McGraw. Now, Muffet can give a look now. And now that I've seen Sippis, he's learned from the best. He's worked for some incredible coaches in his time.
And we talked about some takeaways from being an assistant coach under Muffet McGraw. He didn't mention that stern look, but that's something that he picked up.
Well, the issue at hand, of course, is that Jonquel Jones now has 2 personal fouls, and that is the undisputed superstar for George Washington. So that would make me irate if I was Sippis as well.
It takes the complexion of your team and it changes it, because she's somebody that really is unguardable, what she's able to do.
And we're going to get that answer now that you asked, who's going to step up if JJ's sitting out. First foul on Keani Albanez. Kyra Washington heads to the line to shoot 1 and 1. Both teams with 17 fouls. George Washington struggling early.
11 turnovers though. I know we talked at the top about Gonzaga taking care of the basketball, but they've been very aggressive. I think they've been active along the perimeter and forced some of the guards for George Washington into errant passes and trying to force it into JJ. The good thing, if your coach Sippis is, that's coachable. Those are things that you can change at the half. Or now, as he probably prefers.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's got 8 minutes left in this half. Yeah. They've got work to do. Just down 7. George Washington finding themselves in an uncharacteristic position. Shaw with the drive. And then group of bodies hit the deck under the basket. One thing's for sure, both these teams are going to leave it all out on the floor in this first round game.
What I'd like to see from both teams is we've seen both teams actually take charges against each other is just pull up. Instead of going all the way to the hole, stop, pull up, and elevate over a defender and make a mid-range shot.
Sophomore out of Orlando. Cannot hit the front end of the one-on-one. Rebound to Wolfram. Andrew Sherbert has checked in, the senior, for Gonzaga. Brings the ball inside to Greiniker. Offensive foul away from the ball. George Washington ball when we return. Colonials trailing Gonzaga by 7. Welcome back to Corvallis, Oregon, where we just had a dance-off between the George Washington mascot, the Gonzaga Bulldog, and G-Dub a little despondent. The Colonials did not win. Fans, you can catch the George Washington men's team in a second-round NIT game against Temple. That's coming your way Sunday, 11 Eastern on ESPN, also on Watch ESPN. Visit NCAA.com for more information. That's your home for all 89 NCAA championships. All the mascots in the building today. My first look in person at the South Dakota State Jackrabbit.
Did you get your photo?
You bet. Oh, every time
Right
you see a mascot for the first time, you
starting to get to know you a little bit here.
That's right. You got to be a part of it. I did not, however, get to the Bulldog or the Colonial, unfortunately. I'll be busy at the house. And Kevin Gandhi's working hard. Kickball there. Jonquel Jones remains on the bench, the star for the Colonials, with 2 personal fouls. Chicago Washington, number 3, to go to work here. So Hannah Shively with the ball. Tucks into the lane. She's tough as nails, Shively. 7 for her. She's got 7 and George Washington 16.
Yeah, she's tough. She led the A-10 in steals, but offensively now with JJ on the bench, she's got to step up.
Wanted to work it into Greiniker, but Greiniker's back was to her. One of the best shooters on the team, but Sherbert back iron there. Offensive rebound, Tinkle. Greiniker working the lane. Trying to make a move on Prengy. Carnival rims at times on both ends. Washington working hard. Prengy with the putback.
And Prengy's been valuable to George Washington in situations where Jones and Washington get in foul trouble. She can step up and score as well.
Important shot, high percentage for Emma Wolfram. Gonzaga was 2 of its last 11 before that easy bucket for her. Frangy with another putback attempt. No. Washington can't get it to go. Rebounding is a hallmark of George Washington's success. Lead the nation in rebounding margin, plus 13.9. 2 for 3. Got it.
You have to think about who's one of the best rebounding players in the country, and that's JJ Jonquel Jones, and she's on the bench right now.
Washington pretty good on the glass as well. Rebounding margin is one piece, but you've got to translate those offensive rebounds into second chance opportunities, and George Washington with only 6 second chance points in the game.
And that's why you're Coach K.
That's why they wear the knee pads.
Harry asked me what kind of offense Gonzaga runs, and it really is inside-outside. I think they have tremendous size, but it takes guard play to get them active looks, and then Ellie Tinkle able to finally get some offense going. And key moment was when she went to the free throw line, saw the ball go through the hoop, give you some confidence.
But you're the one who taught me that, Steffi. You're the shooter in this duo. So you said sometimes you just got to see it.
Sometimes you press a little bit too much when you're a shooter and your shots aren't falling and you feel a lot of weight on your shoulders to score. Getting to the free throw line can kind of relieve some of that.
Jayla Cummings, the freshman out of Lawrenceville, Georgia. 74% free throw shooter on the season. Hits the second.
She's a player who had 9 points in that A-10 championship game, and other people had to contribute offensively. I'm waiting for Lauren Chase to get going. She's, 5'5", she's short, she's scrappy, she's energetic.
George Washington has actually outscored Gonzaga by 2 points since Jonquel went to the bench with the 2 fouls, so they're doing the work. Both teams trading missed shots the last couple trips down the floor.
You can see the trend right now. Both teams not afraid to shoot early in the shot clock. Good looks or bad looks, they're putting it up.
How do you think the coaches feel about that?
Well, I think that, they both game plan for transition speed. I think that when it comes down to the team that wins this game is when things do slow down, how well they're able to execute their half-court offense.
Turnovers an early issue for George Washington, committing 11, resulted in 14 points for Gonzaga. Shot clock at 5 now. Gonzaga will keep the ball with 5 on the shot clock.
Look for Sherbert, off of 3.
That's
another good option.
Absolutely. All West Coast Conference first teamers, Sonny Dreinecker, the senior out of Germany. These are your people, Steffi Swords.
I do have a little German in my blood.
Albanez with the push to Sherbert, gets it back. Great caring and sharing of the basketball there between a couple of seniors. Jonathan Siffis wants to talk about it.
Gonzaga in transition. It starts with Albanez, gives it up, and then continues, but smart enough to know that, she didn't have to go into the paint to shoot that shot. She waited, saw where her defender was there. Patience. Well done by Gonzaga.
NCAA Women's Championship, presented by Capital One, is brought to you by your DQ. This month, get your $5 lunch with not one, but 2 crispy chicken wraps. And USAA, proudly serving the financial needs of current and former military members and their families.
What a great picture of Tennessee legend Pat Summitt and her son Tyler. Tyler Summitt, now the head coach at Louisiana Tech, hoping to resurrect that once proud program. I love their decision to go with some historical pictures this year to help educate the young women's basketball fans. 30-19, Gonzaga with the lead over George Washington. The Colonials have scored only 1 point in the last just about 3 minutes. Struggling there, even hold on to the ball. Possession arrow in favor of George Washington.
Gonzaga really upping their pressure defensively now, looking to trap in the corners. So that means for George Washington, your guards have to be much more smarter with your decision making and where you pick up your dribble, because Gonzaga's pressure is coming.
Shot clock at 5. Side of the backboard, then a block. Unfortunate turn of events for Cummings. The other way, quick basket for Gonzaga.
Transition defense being something George Washington worked on in practice, and it's one thing to run back to the middle of the paint, but then it's to run back and guard somebody in transition, and that's what George Washington has to do. They have to match up, not just running to the paint. Great pass.
Oh, what aim, senior to senior, Albanez to Greiniker.
She's really led the transition offense for Gonzaga. Finds Sonny Greiniker, who's just been streaking, beating the other post players down the court. And that transition play for Gonzaga just really gives them energy. They feed off that, you're getting out, you're moving the ball. The tempo is in their favor right now.
Greiniker converts the 3-point play. Jonquel Jones back in the game for George Washington. Out there with 2 personal fouls. Shively. Benny hassled on the rebound by Serber. Serber stepped out of bounds. George Washington ball.
I think that shows some faith in Jonquel Jones from Coach Sippes, putting her in the game with 2:49 left. She's got 2 fouls. She's smart. He knows that they need points right now.
Kyra Washington also now has 2 fouls, and I don't know that he wants to go through a game without both of them, at least one of them on the floor. AJ sat out 5 minutes, 45 seconds during that span. Colonials were outscored by 7. Gonzaga started to exert its will. And they keep it going. Keani Albanez. Will head to the line.
Albanez is one of those players who's really worked on her decision-making this season. At times, shot the ball too many times, or the looks that she was doing weren't in Gonzaga's favor. But so far in this game, I've really liked the way that she's moved the ball offensively and the shots she's taken and given up in transition.
Brangy hits the first. Coming up on the Northwestern Mutual halftime report. Some updates from games around the country. Notre Dame taking care of business against 16 seed Montana in South Bend. Cal Wichita State, Syracuse, Nebraska, and another 8-9 game. DePaul had to come back to beat Minnesota. Some great games in this first day of the first round of the NCAA.
How's your bracket looking, Kara?
My bracket's looking great.
Yeah?
Ain't gonna lie, I'm pretty proud. Greiniker. In and out. Offensive rebound, Wolfram. Trouble.
He rolled the dice. He put JJ into the game. And this is where she gets in trouble. Is you get her up in the air because she's so long, and looks to block shots. Just that slight hesitation gets her up. Easy call for the referees.
And there she heads back to the bench. almost a non-factor in this first half. A player that averages a double-double with a team leading 15.5 points and 12.4 rebounds a game. Foul way out on the perimeter.
And one thing I want to point out is after watching George Washington practice, their energy and the way that they came out, and I saw Coach Sippis stop practice and really gather everyone and said, hey, look, there's no time to hang our heads. I guess he didn't like the way that practice was being run at the time. But right now, when your superstars on the bench, this isn't a time that they can't hang their heads. You've got a minute and 50 to close this first half out.
Washington and Jonquel Jones both on the bench. The two players that average double figures for George Washington. Both in foul trouble. Jones with 3, Washington with 2. The Colonials are going to need Herculean efforts from their post stars in the second half to get them back in this one. Gonzaga had an attack mindset from the get-go. The scrappiness that women's basketball fans are used to seeing from this team from Spokane. Really fouled on the way to the basket.
And that's a good way for George Washington to get easy points. Is the second there's a missed shot by Gonzaga, get the ball out with Miller, who's a very quick player, with the ball in her hands. Try to get some easy opportunities to get yourself to the free throw line.
Miller hits the first, 78% free throw shooter.
And Kara, that's the only issue when your team is as front court heavy as George Washington is, and they get into foul trouble, or something happens. The guards aren't used to having to step up and score all these points. They fall back into a 2-3 zone now. Try to pack the paint against Gonzaga.
Three from the corner long for Chelsea Waters. Other way. Badly in and out. Under a minute now in this first half. Gonzaga put the pedal to the metal early and has kept the foot extended. Reinecker blocked by Krange. Wolfram blocked. Sherbert's effort won't fall. Franchise Krange across, and Caesar gets it back. Blocked by Wolfram.
Gonzaga foul number 33, Lindsay Sherbert. First personal foul.
First personal foul on Sherbert.
Shannon Crenshaw at the line for 2.
Crenshaw, 68% free throw shooter, can't hit the first. It's been a point dearth of late for George Washington. No made field goals in an over 6-minute span. And out on the second. Colonials ball.
In the A-10 championship game, when Jonquel Jones got in foul trouble in the first half, George Washington ran into a similar situation. JJ came out in the second half completely hot. I think the difference is she's coming out into this second half with 3 fouls and not 2. At the same time, you're only down by 15. You've had arguably your 2 best post players riding the bench.
George Washington looking to head into the locker room with some semblance of positive momentum here in this last possession of the first half. 10 seconds now, time to make a move. Ranshaw, NBA range.
And then some.
Yeah. That will end the first half. Gonzaga on a 19-7 run in the last 6 minutes and 40 seconds of that first half. It just really took over when the foul trouble started.
Yeah, and I think they really made the most of having JJ on the bench and Kyra Washington. The post play of Gonzaga is so strong, and their ability to get out in transition. Albanez has contributed. Sunny Greiniker, she's also been stellar inside, and just the post-to-post passing. When your two best post players are on the bench, they attack.
40-25, Gonzaga with the advantage over the 6th seed George Washington. But we did see 14th seed South Dakota State with an edge over Oregon State. The Beavers took over the second half. We'll see if we have a tale of two halves here again. Let's go to Kevin in the studio.
Western Mutual halftime report.
Kevin Agandi, Kara Lawson, and Rebecca Lobo with you. 4 windows and one of our very good games so far. We have an 8-9 matchup. Let's go to it. It is in Columbia, Greensboro region, Syracuse, Nebraska. First time these two teams are meeting. And under 10 minutes left in the half, Syracuse already up by 4. They extend the lead to 6 here. They look comfortable with the offense. Here comes Nebraska. Natalie Romeo. Rebecca?
Yeah, nice job by the freshman stepping in. Since Terrio got hurt at the point guard spot, this is a Nebraska team with 4 seniors. I'm eager to see how they respond in the second half. Cornelia Fondren was terrific for Syracuse in that first half.
Alexis Peterson there. We are tied at 36 apiece. The winner of that game will face off against Dawn Staley in South Carolina. The 1 seed in Greensboro hosting Savannah State. First tournament appearance for Savannah State. It's sluggish in the first half by the Gamecocks. Second half, they got right.
Yeah, terrific energy, and it's always going to start on the defensive end for Dawn Staley's team. Khadijah Sessions just had that extra bounce in her step in the second half, got the momentum going for them on the defensive end, leading to layups like this on the other end.
Beautiful passing coach to Wilson. Sessions looking good. Welch had 12 points. Wilson with 15. The number 1 seed in Oklahoma City. That is Notre Dame hosting Montana. Jewel Lloyd. Good luck stopping her.
1 dribble pull-up, just her rise and fire ability. And Notre Dame, the execution of their offense, nice little screen and roll there. Turner and the Irish continue to roll.
Lloyd has 12 points so far. They're up by 19 at the half. Some of you guys are watching this game. This is featuring Gonzaga, the 11 seed versus George Washington. And Kara, we saw Miami an 11 seed pull off an upset. Gonzaga looks very comfortable right now.
Gonzaga looks excellent. I mean, they're getting into the lane at will. You see the driving kick ability, but they've handled George Washington's size across that front line. They've countered it with size of their own. Jonquel Jones, George Washington's best player, 3 fouls in the first half. That's an issue for the Colonials.
Zags outside open look, got it. They are in control, up by 15 points. Albanez looking very good. Meanwhile, Cal on their home floor is the 4 seed, taking on Wichita State. Rashonda Gray laying it in. Cal up by 4. What did you see in this game, Rebecca?
Well, I thought Rashonda Gray was terrific on the offensive end. Sometimes double and triple team. She was still able to score. Jeff Lowe did a nice job from the perimeter as well.
We're going to stay on the West Coast here, and Oregon State, 3 seed on their home floor, taking on South Dakota State. In the first half, South Dakota State, the Jackrabbits, they looked very good. They were up by 2, but here comes the Beavers in the second half, part of a 15-4 run.
Great use of Ruth Hamblin early in that second half, and then Sydney Weiss, the point guard for Oregon State, did a tremendous job. Oregon State got back to their offensive rhythm there in the second half.
They have that dancing with the
What
headbands.
is that?
Right?
What rhythm is that?
Oh, I was talking about on the court. The bench, I do not speak for the bench at all.
Oregon State getting the victory, looking good in the second half. This was a good game, too. Another 8-9 matchup. DePaul and Minnesota and South Bend. And Amanda Zawibi did all she could inside.
She did. You know, what DePaul was able to do in the second half was really just drive and kick and make shots. Went 2 for 20 from the first half from beyond the arc. In the second half, their pressure, their spacing, and their ability to knock down these outside shots were the difference.
Oh, the outside. Shanice Jenkins right there. Zowie B, she is out of the tournament. Tough loss for her. Look at the numbers, though. She did all she could. 21 points, 22 rebounds, and 5 assists.
And watching the game, it felt like she could have had a lot more if they utilized her more in the half court.
Well, DePaul advancing and moving on. They will face off against the winner against Notre Dame and Montana. More of the second half coming up.
This halftime report is presented by Northwestern Mutual. You and Northwestern Mutual, stronger together.
Welcome back to the NCAA Women's Championship presented by Capital One. We're here in Game 2 today at Gill Coliseum in Corvallis, Oregon. Oregon State won the first game, and in Game 2, as we get ready to start the second half, it is 11-seed Gonzaga with a 15-point advantage over 6-seed George Washington. What stands out from the first half stats, Steffi?
Gonzaga, I mean, we talked about this before the tip, was going to be turnovers, and the fact that they have 10 assists on 14 field goals means that they took care of business in the first half. But for George Washington, Jonquel Jones, 4 points with a 15-point lead right now. I expect her to come out looking to avenge for some minutes that she did not get to play in the first half. Some points in the paint as well, Kara. 16 points for Gonzaga. Their coach did a great job of sharing the basketball, which attributes to some of those assists.
Jonquel Jones, the Atlantic 10 Player of the Year, the Atlantic 10 Defensive Player of the Year, averaged just shy of 27 minutes per game for George Washington, but limited to only 10 minutes in that first half.
And look, that's when I was watching film on George Washington before I got here. That was the biggest question mark for me, is if JJ's not in the game, who's going to score the basketball? And we saw, you know, that they struggled with that in the first half. They're going to start in a 2-3 zone. And you wonder if that's a move by Coach Sippis to put Jonquel Jones out of position to where she's not scoring, or excuse me, fouling in a one-on-one scenario.
Gonzaga finished that first half on a 19-7 run to build that lead to 15 points. George Washington. Shot won't fall for Cranshaw. Foul on the rebound. You can tell Jones is fired up right now.
Number 44, Shelby Chesley. Third personal, first team foul.
Third personal on Shelby Cheslick. She was also hampered by foul trouble in that first half for Gonzaga. Shively inside, side of the backboard.
And Georgia Sturton, who had 2 fouls in the first half as well, running the point guard. She also did a very good job of taking care of the basketball. That was a question mark because she's new to the Gonzaga system. She may be an upperclassman, but coming from a junior college.
Transfer to Gonzaga out of North Idaho College. Kick back to Greiniker. It's kind of stretching her range a little bit, but Lisa Fortier said she thinks Greiniker's got the best mid-range game in the country. Washington gets a block. Jones keeps it alive. Cranshaw continues to be cold from the outside, 0 for 5 from three-point range. Number 13 is the best three-point shooter for George Washington.
But there's some of that offensive rebounding that makes George Washington a good team inside, is being able to get those rebounds, but then also, as you mentioned, Coach Kara, converting those into points.
The 6-second chance points for George Washington in that first half, despite 12 offensive rebounds. Some substitutions now for Gonzaga as Shelby Cheslick heads to the bench with 4 personal fouls. There's a lot of youth in the post for Gonzaga, but Emma Wolfram was very strong in that first half when Cheslick was in foul trouble. Gets the ball to Sturton. Albanez with a strong first half for Gonzaga, led all scorers with 12 points. Shot clock at 5 now for the Bulldogs. Running out of time. Greiniker sees that. The defensive Jones, she can be so disruptive with that length.
She was just defending out on the three-point line, gets back into the paint to get that rebound.
There it is. Shannon Cranshaw with that 3. Maybe similar to Ellie Tinkle in the first half for Gonzaga, just had to see the shot fall. Perhaps it's time for Cranshaw to fire it up. Gonzaga still by 11 here in Corvallis. Once again, ESPNW.com collecting tourney snapshots for you. This one from right here in our first game in Corvallis. That's two of our officials. Benny Luna and Melissa Barlow. I actually handed Benny the camera to take a picture of Steffi and I before the game, and lo and behold, the officials taking a selfie on my phone. Really appreciate their great spirit and energy in that win for Oregon State over South Dakota State. For more tourney snapshots, go to ESPNW.com. There's just a different feel to March, right, Steffi? Like, we're all beyond that regular season grind. We're through those conference tournaments. Everything's on the line. Win or go home.
Officials taking selfies on your phone. Add it to the list.
It made me so happy with Melissa Barlow with the thumbs up with her arm around Benny's shoulder. That's just good stuff. Steal for Nilles. Albanez way out front, but three George Washington defenders circle around her. Jumps down to Greiniker. She'll head to the line. Steffi, Gonzaga is actually scoreless in this first 2+ of the second half. Shelby Cheslick is on the bench right now. She picked up her 4th foul. Opportunity for the Colonials to try to right the ship here.
Look, I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit for if you're Gonzaga offensively. With Jonquel Jones having 3 fouls, the way that she comes defensively to attack and really hard hedge the on-ball, I think you go right at her top foot and you try to get her a 4th foul and put her to the bench. If you're Gonzaga, that's got to be the strategy.
As well, it was Kyra Washington who committed that foul against Greiniker, so she heads to the bench now, like Jones, also with 3.
And they work so well that with the high-low passing.
Pass to Shidley, blocked. Now, we are seeing a lot of the bright future of Emma Wolfram today. Second on the team in blocks. Active hands for a 6'5" post. Working on Nilles. Another block for Wolfram.
Just key rotation within the paint, especially by Wolfram.
Jones from the corner. She doesn't hit many of those, so that was a long 2, excuse me. It was a 3. Mixed signals.
Sonny Greiniker even does the step back and can't get the shot off over JJ.
Jones again going to work inside, can't hit from there. Greiniker. Well, that's why Lisa Fortier says her mid-range game against anybody in the nation.
Oh, and especially trying to get your shot off against a player like Jonquel Jones, who closes out with her reach. She's able to get it off 18 feet away.
But the reach is one thing, but gosh, Jonquel Jones has such nice lateral movement.
Yeah,
she's quick as a cat out there.
I mean, there's no doubt in my mind. Scouts are just waiting for her at the WNBA. Oh. Frustration on her face. And Coach Sippis not happy nonetheless. Well, as I mentioned, Gonzaga, you go right at the best player of this team. And Jonquel Jones is going to rotate over. The block is clean, but the body, that's where she initiates the contact, which gets her the 4th foul.
Hands on her hips, disappointed look on the face of Jonquel Jones as she heads to the bench. Coach Sippis let the officials know, displeased once again. He was warned by Brian Burnetta to simmer down. But that's hard to do when you're at this level and you want so much for your program to taste success in the NCAA tournament, something that George Washington is very familiar with as a franchise, as a program, just not as of late. Albanez with the steal. Greiniker goes to work on Washington with the 3 fouls. And now 4 on Kyra Washington. Struggles continue for George Washington. Gonzaga in command. Will we see our second 11 seed post an upset today?
The NCAA Women's Championship, presented by Capital One, is brought to you by Baraka.
Frustrating Friday in Corvallis for George Washington head coach Jonathan Sippis. Disenfranchised with the decision-making by the officiating crew, loses the jacket in the first half, goes to the locker room with some thoughts, and then just moments ago as Jonquel Jones picked up her 4th personal foul, got warned by the officials to take it easy.
Yeah, look, bottom line, Kara, this is a competitor. Jonathan Sippis, you don't spend as many seasons as you did under Muffin McGraw and not take away any of that competitive mojo that she brings to the table and the success that they've had. And he's resurrected this program, turned it around very quickly. And it's not just frustration for the players, it's frustrating as a coach because you know that to succeed, you need your best players on the court, and right now he's got 2 of them on the bench.
Sippis' dad, Lou, played with the Greek national team and is in the Hellenic Sports Hall of Fame. He comes from a basketball lineage, has loved the game his whole life. And he just wants so much for this George Washington program that has been an NCAA name that a lot of fans remember from years past. 16th appearance for the Colonials, but their first time since 2008. This is a team that has made 4 Sweet 16 appearances and an Elite 8 appearance. Chase. Cross-court pass. Sturton didn't like the look at it. Dribbled around and found a better look.
She's been so steady for them. Hasn't made any unnecessary turnovers. Shot when she needed to.
Finds Chase in the corner. Senior leadership has really been on display for this Gonzaga team. Reinecker, Albanez, in and out for Reinecker there. George Washington's men's team is in action in the second round in the NIT against Temple on Sunday at 11 o'clock Eastern Time. That's 11 in the morning on ESPN, and watch ESPN. Visit NCAA.com, your home for all 89 NCAA championships. Having the men's and women's basketball championships, the wrestling championships going on right now, the gymnastics championships soon to begin. Triple looks inside. Ball poked away from Millis. Gonzaga was towing the line of being called for a turnover there. Just got the ball unbounded, but now the shot clock is under 10. Post passing denied by the defense that time.
And there was some of the turnovers that we've seen late in the shot clock. I do wonder when it comes to Gonzaga in one-on-one situations, late in the shot clock, who takes that shot, who can create a one-on-one situation. We saw Albanez have the turnover.
The foul was whistled on Shaniqua Nilles, left on the floor with 3 personals for Gonzaga, number 22 in gray. Bates looks to the bench for some leadership and a plan. Prangy inside, and one. Resolved drive from the freshman out of Damascus, Maryland.
They come out and just in a 1-4 high set, Kara looking to attack. All of that isolation on the other side of the basket is basically set up so that Prangy has an easy layup for George Washington.
3-point play for the member of the All-A-10 rookie team. Gonzaga trying to find a good shot. For 3. That'll bring Wayne Tinkle to his feet.
One of the most effective passes against the 2-3 zone, any zone really in particular, is a skip pass. Gonzaga executing that perfectly. Ellie Tinkle just ready to catch and shoot.
Lacey Anderson just left on her shot. First we've seen today for the junior out of Bolingbrook, Illinois. Program that has put a lot of superstars into the Division I ranks. And she will take a rest as Chandler checks back in. Speaking of a program that's put a lot of players into the ranks, Cy-Fair High School, Lex Chandler out of Cypress, Texas. Prangy for 3. Ellie Prangy with 10.
Takes advantage of some miscommunication on that on ball.
Stout defense on the other end by Prangy. Just her 15th three-pointer of the year, but the second we've seen her take in this game. George Washington ball.
And you have to wonder when Coach Sittis rolls the dice again and puts Jonquel Jones back in the game. I think that 10-minute mark it's time to go for her.
Prangy has scored George Washington's last 6 points. Turns that one over, though. Sturton for 3.
Man, how big has she been today, Kara, for Gonzaga?
Sturton with 7 points in the game, averages about 5.8 a game. She got nicked by the ball there. Cranshaw for 3. Shannon Cranshaw's second 3 of the second half.
Offense is going now for George Washington, but also for Gonzaga. Georgia Sturton steps up, hits the big 3.
As the band is jamming, we're looking ahead to Saturday night, 9 o'clock Eastern, when #1 overall seed Connecticut begins its march to try to defend its national championship. That's at home against St. Francis of Brooklyn, 9 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2, and they will start their march in stores in that same section of the Albany region. Texas only won by 2 against Western Kentucky, and Cal playing Wichita State right now. Steffi, you think that you showed us in the first game the #1 seeds you think are going to the Final Four, but who has an outside shot?
I think right here in Corvallis is Oregon State. If they put together 40 minutes of solid basketball like they did as they're watching and take on the winner of this game, they could put together a full 40 minutes of basketball. I think they're a scary team. Baylor, Kim Mulkey always has her team in the mix. Florida State, they're an interesting team this year. They've got 6 transfers, so a very different lineup that Sue Semrau's put together, but you know, nonetheless, they're in the South Carolina bracket, and I feel like if there's one athletic team that can compete with South Carolina, it's FSU. And those are my 3 outside shots.
I love that this is a rebuilding year for Baylor. First it was no Brittany Griner, no problem. Now it's no Odyssey Sims, no problem, because they've got Nina Davis having an All-American campaign, scoring inside, and then Nia Johnson, the best assist maker in the nation, distributing from the outside. Three-pointer, Lindsay Sherbert.
She's really been plagued by that injury to her PCL, but she can come off the bench and shoot, makes the most of her minutes.
Shagley strokes from just outside the free-throw line. She's got 11 now. Steal for Cranshaw. Shagley on the wing. She sees her. Foul called as Cummings tries the putback.
I think that turnover for Georgia Sturton kind of falls on, not to pick on Sunny Groninger, but when you inbound the ball and you see your point guard take the ball and start to dribble up and you see somebody trying to back tip it, you've got to tell them, you've got to communicate that someone's behind them. So as I mentioned, 2 new point guards in a new system. Communication is so key for their success.
Bree Cummings hits the first free throw. 9 points against Dayton in the A-10 championship game. Dayton, a team that won in the first round today, beating Iowa State. And hits the second.
And now here comes the full court pressure for George Washington. Obviously, they're looking to turn the ball over. Sunny Groninger handling the point guard position. That's when you need to get the ball to your point guard, and now we'll see Emma Stock challenging my German a little bit to get that last name out there. My mom's at home shaking her head. She's like, oh my gosh.
Let me help you. Emma Stock was recruited as a 2 guard, so you mentioned 2 first-year point guards, and this is a player as a freshman has to be transitioned from a 2 guard to a point guard, so doubly tough for Stock. Training has been so tough in the second half for George Washington, but Gonzaga's defense stalwart on that possession. Each of Gonzaga's last 3 made field goals have been 3-pointers. That one was perhaps altered by Prangy.
What we haven't seen lately from Gonzaga is what's really built the lead for them, which is transition and post-scoring.
And then Chase slid around the floor, no whistle there. 3 for Sherbert, short. Chase lifts up for the rebound. She's got Cummings deep ahead. Cummings will head to the line. You brought up, when are they going to bring Jonquel Jones back in? And she is kneeling at the scorer's table now. You said right about the 10-minute mark, Coach Steffi.
I just think right now, if you're Coach Siffis, you feel some momentum for your team. You've got some things going. You've gotten some stops defensively. Now's the time to put her in. She's the difference maker for this team. She can put them on her back, she can score, she can get stops. The only thing is, though, how aggressive do you play when you've got 4 fouls? You know your team needs you offensively. I think she just plays disciplined defense. Don't try to block any shots or anything. Just get in position. Keep your person in front of you. Coming in this game, I was excited to see how Jonquel Jones would handle some of Gonzaga's size. And it's been a tough day for her. She's had some moments where we've seen just why she's a special player. As 6'4" can step out, she can block shots, but foul trouble has kept her on the bench. But when I say she took over for that in that A-10 championship game, she really won them that game. And with 9.5 minutes left to go, you have to think that's the same mentality she's going to approach to finish this game.
She had 10 3-point shots all year and had 4 in that A-10 championship. Not that we're expecting her to leak out and throw up a bunch of threes, but you know, when her team needs her, Jonquel Jones delivers. They need her now. Just a 10-point advantage for Gonzaga. Shot clock under 10 now. Stahl from the corner. Short. Jones with the rebound. You saw Cranshaw, great outlet pass. Her vision.
At 6'4", she rebounds that ball and she leads the transition. Throws up the outlet pass.
8-0 run for the Colonials, and Lisa Fortier was begging for a timeout. Finally, the official saw her. We asked Lisa Fortier about the first year at the helm of the Gonzaga Bulldogs. She says it's been hard. Teams are always making runs.
And Jonquel Jones leads the transition, already making an impact. To go back to your story about Gonzaga, and you're talking to Coach Fortier about the transition, being a head coach, and she's realizing the ups and downs of a season in a Gonzaga team that she wondered if they would even get into postseason play. This is a team that is accustomed to getting in, and it was a long week for them. She said she'd experienced the week off, but this is a team that hadn't experienced that. So they did some fun activities, took their minds off of basketball a little bit, and I think that was helpful. Just as a former player, it's good to escape before you go all in for an NCAA tournament bid.
Said something interesting. Fortier said she feels like because it's her first year as the head coach, they're still playing for her like she's an assistant coach who has their back. I thought that was an interesting observation.
Yeah, I could see that in practice a little bit, the way that her players interacted with her. It seemed like they really respect her. But, as assistant coach, it's such a different vibe. You're almost like the player's best friend.
Stahl for 3. Big shot there from the freshman out of Germany. Jones. Short. George Washington ball. Fortier, a 7-year assistant under Kelly Graves, now the head coach just south of us at the University of Oregon. Asked Kelly if he'd be here today. He said he's out recruiting, but he'd love to be here supporting the Bulldogs. And he knows Oregon State and Gonzaga pretty well. It felt like we were lucky enough to have the first, second round site where really all 4 teams here could win 2 this weekend. Oregon State has already won. Awaiting the winner of this game between Gonzaga and George Washington. Good defensive pressure here from George Washington, not allowing any open looks until right then. Jones in for the rebound.
Oh, and it's different because they're switching the on-balls now. Instead of Jonquel Jones coming out hard hedging, just switching it so she's not in position to foul.
Gets her offensive board. Gets it to go. Her athleticism. She shot the first shot. It was like she was at the basket.
Don't go gadget
arms. I mean, ridiculous. There's so much pop and bounce in her movement. Reinecker, top of the key. Offensive rebound to Nilles. A reset for Gonzaga. Albanez calling for it. Jones comes up with it. Here's Cranshaw in the corner. Miller across. Colonials ball. It will be George Washington's ball when we return. Gonzaga's once double-digit lead has been whittled to 9 behind Jonquel Jones.
The NCAA Women's Championship is presented by Quicksilver from Capital One. Earn unlimited 1.5% cash back every purchase, every day.
March is a time for difference makers, and Jonquel Jones has been one for George Washington.
There's no doubt if George Washington is going to win this game, it's going to fall on the shoulders of Jonquel Jones. Here we see some of the athleticism. She misses the shot, immediately follows it back, stays with it. Check out some of this reach that she has. Just remarkable.
Off the inbound to Kyra Washington, also now back on the floor with 4 personal fouls, and she'll head to the line for a 3-point play.
8-team foul. Washington at the line shooting well.
Shelby Cheslick is back in the game for Gonzaga, also with 4 fouls. Getting the screen there for Albanez. Perimeter foul called on Washington. She's out.
6-team foul.
It's been a tough day for the post players for George Washington. Kyra Washington, part of the A10 All-Tournament team, had some momentum, some confidence coming into this game. One of the most improved players for the Colonials, really.
A10 All-Conference first teamer like Jonquel Jones played in only 17 minutes. After the last break, in 16 minutes, Jonquel Jones had 9 points, 12 rebounds, and assists, 2 blocks, and 2 steals. In 12 rebounds in 16 minutes.
Yeah. Just imagine what she could do if she could stay on the floor.
And you could say that for both Washington and Jones on this day. Cheslick. Blocking foul called on Shively.
Shively tries to rotate over and take a charge. It's a tough call. I mean, feet are planted. She establishes defensive position. She's outside.
And a game-changing call, because it would have been potentially the 5th personal foul on Cheslick. A lot easier for Jones to go to work without 6'5" redshirt junior center Shelby Cheslick out of Pullman, Washington out there. 1 of 2. Do the Colonials have a little bit more fighters? Gonzaga ready to close the door. Take on fellow opponent from the Pacific Northwest. Prangy working hard for that offensive rebound and putback.
Her contributions with Jones and Washington struggling offensively have just been so huge. And the reaction, though, for George Washington after each foul, I just think they have to play through it. You have to let it go. The things aren't going your way. The going gets tough right now. You can't overreact on every single foul. Just play through it. It's part of the game. I think you get too caught up. You look at officials after every single play.
How hard is it as a player to let that go?
It's difficult. No, don't get me wrong. It's difficult, but at the same time, you just have to run down the court, let it go. That'll occupy your mind too much when you've got other things to worry about.
Jones spots Prangy. A little too much pepper on that pass. Gonzaga trying to build back what was once a 19-point lead.
And use some shot clock at the same time. They just have to get a good shot off.
Gonzaga led by 16 with about 11.5 minutes to go in this second half. Shot clock at 1. Shot clock violation.
Shot clock violation.
That's when you like to see a player like Sonny Greineker go get the ball, make something happen.
Chase. But Prangy just short on the shot. Shively reaches in. On Tinkle. 19 foul now for George Washington. Will send Tinkle to the line for 1-and-1. Ellie Tinkle has really worked a lot on her offensive game this year. Steffi, you spoke to it earlier. Lisa Fortier, being the former assistant coach, she said she's basically worked on it with Tinkle her whole career.
Yeah, it's been a process that she's fixing her shot. And
she was all defense and rebounding when she came out to Spokane for her college career out of Missoula, Montana. Now she's got an offensive game to go with it, averaging just under 12 per contest.
She didn't start the first 5 games, and then when Sherbert went down with that PCL, she hit the game winner on her first start, so that'll give you some confidence.
That was a missed back call by the referees. Under 5 minutes now. Shively out there with 3 personal fouls. That's now her 4th.
As the fouls start to accumulate, I think maybe a defensive switch situation that you change for George Washington. You go zone, and you kind of pack the paint, and you make life really hard for the post players, and just force Gonzaga to shoot outside shots. And then if they're hitting their shots, switch to man-to-man, but right now, it seems like in one-on-one situations guarding for George Washington, it's just starting to, the fouls are just starting to rack up for them.
Hesitant to go into a zone, though, with Gonzaga 8 of 17 from three-point land today.
I think you try. Give it a few possessions.
See what works.
Yeah, yep. You try, you go back to man, you go to zone, you switch it up. Don't let them get comfortable.
Scott's Cummings baseline. It's the reverse to fall. Crafty shot from Cummings, whose points had come from the free throw line until that made field goal. Then Miller with the steal. Alicia Naylor has ranked among the Atlantic 10 leaders in steals throughout her career, currently 3rd in the league, over 2 takeaways per game this season, over 250 steals in her career. Now Tinkle leaves the game with her 4th personal foul. It's not only George Washington that's been pestered by the fouls. I think that the difference is the depth of Gonzaga. You have that one star, and that's the one who's in foul trouble. That's when it's so painful. And that's been Jonquel Jones for George Washington. The minutes she's played, she has given it her all.
It's hard to establish a rhythm of the game when you're in and out and you're in foul trouble. You're trying not to foul. You're trying to win your team the game.
8-point advantage, Gonzaga. Look for the steal there. Millis runs out of room. Klange's right there. Just Chase on the wing. Chase with Sherbert to beat. What a pass! That's why Associate Head Coach Diane Richardson called Lauren Chase Bird. Little bird out there just picks apart the defenses. What a pass! Timeout Gonzaga.
Timeout Bulldogs.
George Washington on a 5-0 run, and we will take a break. Gonzaga with a 6-point advantage over George Washington. George Washington on a 5-0 run in the last 51 seconds.
I think the biggest thing for George Washington is not lose sight of what you got you to this tournament. That's rebounding, that's running in transition, and that's defending. We've seen that on this 5-0 run that George Washington's been on. And really, Jonquel Jones now being able to get into a rhythm. 3.5 minutes left. Her teammates have gotten her to this point as she's had to watch from the bench, but now this is crunch time for her. And for Gonzaga, and Kara, I always preach to you about a team playing not to lose. You can't be passive. You can be patient, but you can't be passive, and we've seen that from Gonzaga on too many possessions.
Shot clock now at 5. Reinecker strokes the 3 with 2 seconds on the shot clock. Just her second three-pointer of the year. Foul on the perimeter. What a big shot for the senior.
Personal team foul. John Jones at the line and the double bonus.
She's certainly Gonzaga's go-to player. Not necessarily for three-pointers, more so mid-range and down in the paint. But when you feel like your season's on the line, you're a senior in the NCAA tournament, you got an open three-pointer. You go.
And the shot clock's at 2. And she was, you know, just trying to keep it alive.
Let's take a look at the last 3. Just some misdirection. Perhaps they're looking at her. Her toe was on the line. And from here, looks like that might be a long 2. And take another look at it. It's tough to tell.
From those 2 angles, yes. Let's see if we can get a better look at it this way. Tippy toes. Tippy, tippy toes. Did the chalk fly? Oh, wait. No chalk to give us help. And in a game where George Washington's been making a run, trying to come back into this, you want to make sure every point is precious, either for or against you.
When she steps with that right foot.
Just when I had credited Sonny's second 3 of the season.
Are you going to take it away? They might take it away.
She had attempted only 6 on the year, but she does have a great mid-range game. So much respect for both of these programs, what they were able to do in the year. Gonzaga winning 16 games in West Coast Conference play for a second straight year, 16-2 both seasons. George Washington going 15-1. The elusive double dip. For some reason, Steffi, when you have these conferences with a couple strong teams in the A-10 with Dayton and George Washington this year, it's hard to get both the regular season and the conference tournament championship.
Yeah.
And they did it.
I think, you know, just with the credit Gonzaga, we're going to take another look at Greineker's 3 or 2. Calling it a 3.
Terry
Capuano and Steffi Sorensen welcoming those of you just joining us in Corvallis, Oregon, where 6 seed George Washington is down right now to 11 seed Gonzaga. Jonquel Jones, the star player who just missed that free throw, hampered by foul issues the whole game. She has not played the kind of minutes that she's used to. She's been highly effective when she's been on the floor, but Gonzaga came out aggressive from the get-go, looking to advance and take on Oregon State in the second round.
And Kara, one thing worth noting is the fact that George Washington has only let one team this entire season score more than 70 points, and it was against Florida Gulf Coast, which they lost. Not a comfortable area for them. Defensively, they hold opponents under 70 points. They're in good shape.
Under 3 minutes now. The senior, Keani Albanez, 12 points in the first half and a big bucket there for the Bulldogs. Jones for 3, in and out. The rebound to Shively. Georgia Sturton facing a double team and the inline. Passes out of it. Frantic pacing now, George Washington. Giving it everything they have.
They can't have any hesitancy with the ball whatsoever because George Washington obviously looking to get steals, active hands.
7 seconds on the shot clock. Lisa Fortier calls a timeout for Gonzaga. First-year head coach, a pair of conference coaches of the year in this game. Fortier in the West Coast Conference and Jonathan Sippis in the Atlantic 10. Let's take a look at our Capital One Cup Impact performance. Sunny Greineker, 16 points, 8 rebounds, hit only her second 3, of the season.
Her play was so big in this game. Obviously, we talked about Jonquel Jones and the size and athleticism she brings. The sense of finesse that Sunny Greiniger can also add to the game, and her mid-range jumper, and even stepping out and hitting the three-pointer. Why not? When you're having a good day, you can step out.
9 of her 16 points in the second half for our Capital One Cup impact performance. Sunny Greiniger was also on the All-WCC first team this year, along with her teammate Ellie Tinkle. Gonzaga making its second appearance as an at-large bid. They're used to winning the West Coast Conference. They also did it in 2012 and advanced all the way to the Sweet 16 before a loss to Kentucky that year. Shot clock at 3 now for Sturton. Shot clock violation. Gonzaga uses its last timeout, 7 seconds on the shot clock, can't get a shot off. Is that a tiny crack in the window of opportunity for George Washington?
It's been interesting to watch them offensively with Jonquel Jones coming down the court and just firing up threes when that's really not her game. And when she's been on the bench, she hasn't been necessarily involved in the offense. I'd like to see her get the ball in the paint, maybe draw a couple fouls, get to the free throw line.
Granshaw for 3. Now that is her game.
But that's what sending Jonquel Jones to the paint does. It can open up the perimeter for players like Shannon Granshaw.
Second 3 of the game for Granshaw. Excuse me, her third 3. She's got 11. All 11 of Cranshaw's points coming in the second half. Those were the first points for the Colonials in the last couple of minutes as they're trying to mount this comeback. We already saw a 6-seed fall to an 11-seed earlier today when Miami beat Washington. Oregon State, the 3-seed, awaits the winner of this game. Oregon State trailing 14-seed South Dakota State by 2 at the half, but then it was a completely different complexion for the Beavers in the second half.
How about Sydney Weiss just reading some stats? 200 three-pointers in 66 games.
Yeah.
Special kid. And
it was the 1-2 punch of Sydney Weiss outside and Ruth Hamblin
she was
inside.
typing up the scouting report. We used to write those down.
Yeah. Double team comes again. Gonzaga stays steady in the face of all this pressure from the Colonials. 9 seconds on the shot clock.
If you want to take more time off the shot clock, you throw it to whoever Jonquel Jones is guarding, because she's not going to foul right now.
Instead, it's Cummings with the foul.
George Washington foul number 34.
George Washington had Jones about as far away from that inbound passer. Great point by you, and clearly something Jonathan Sipp has also thought about.
He doesn't want her fouling right now.
No. Greiniger, an 82% free throw shooter. Rips out on that one. Substitutions come in. Best offensive opportunities probably on the floor here for George Washington. Granshaw, the three-point specialist. Shively, Prangy, Jones, Chase. Greiniger hits the second. 9-point advantage.
Quick score for George Washington. Take your first good look.
Taking some time off the clock here. Chase comes up short, gets it back. Jones in and out. So many opportunities, but a shot will not fall for the Colonials. Jump ball on the floor, and it's Gonzaga with the possession arrow. Timeout. Colonials.
Upsets are what make this tournament so special. And I think that the biggest thing is believing that you can win. And I think for Gonzaga, there's two different types of belief. I feel like when you go into a game, there's rah-rah and there's the cheer, we can do it, and there's true belief that you will win this game. I think going into Gonzaga felt like, maybe they were on the bubble of getting in the tournament, but then once they got into the tournament, they're like, okay, we're ready.
We belong here.
We believe.
Yeah.
Yes. I saw that warm-up. They looked confident. They looked ready to go.
8th appearance in the NCAA tournament for Gonzaga, coming in the last 9 years, 7th straight, second time that they've been an at-large bid. They usually earn that automatic qualifier as the West Coast Conference Tournament champions. This year that went to BYU. Shively, nice inbound play. George Washington also a confident, close-knit group, still believing in itself, but time winding down for the Colonials. And that'll breathe a little new life into George Washington.
Gonzaga has to be careful in those out-of-bounds plays. The last place you want to put the ball is right in the corner. That's going to be a trap waiting to happen.
Ball goes into Jonquel Jones, working on the baseline. Blocked by Emma Wolfram. Jonquel Jones scoreless in the last 6.5 minutes for the Colonials. Star for George Washington, only 4 of 13 from the floor today.
And some of those in and outs that she had kind of defined the performance that she put on today.
Lisa Fortier told us if Gonzaga shoots well, they have a chance. 42% overall, but 50% from three-point range, and that includes 9 threes. Meantime, the Colonials shooting just 30.6% on the day. Almost lost it there. Jones almost hit that three. Wolfram's on the ground. And she will now take 3 free throws.
Gonzaga foul on number 12, Emma Wolfram. 3rd personal foul. Jonquel Jones at the line for the Colonials shooting 3.
Jones hits the first, a 68% free throw shooter. Out of Freeport, Bahamas, played high school ball in Maryland under the assistant coach Diane Richardson.
Chandler Miller and Cummings all in for George Washington.
Coach Zip is putting in some defensive players, going offense for defense, and rightfully so. Try to get a quick steal. They had one earlier off the inbound.
That one won't fall. Gonzaga ball.
Put Jonquel Jones on the ball to make it hard, vision-wise, to even inbound the ball. Smart by Alexander, able to get out of that trap.
Reinecker was fouled.
George Washington foul number 4, Lauren Chase. 3rd personal foul. Reinecker at the line for 2.
Jonathan Sippis doing everything he can. Subbing in defense for offense. Reinecker hits the first.
Crenshaw return for George Washington. Wolfram in for Gonzaga.
Crenshaw, Frankie, Shively come back in for the Colonials. He's one of the best free throw shooting teams in the nation. Gonzaga continues to try to ice it from the line. Reinecker now with 19 points to go with her 8 rebounds.
Lauren Chase looking to make something happen offensively. I think at this point with 27 seconds left. You're thinking Crenshaw for a 3 as somebody's down. It's like
Keani Albanez, I think. Well, It looks like that right ankle kind of got rolled under Lauren Chase, falling out of bounds. Peter Clark, the trainer for Gonzaga, helps her to her feet. Albanez has been key in this game for Gonzaga. 19 points to match Greiniker for the team high.
That's toughness right there to jog off the court, Kara.
That's how they do it in Santa Barbara, California, Steffi. I think it's all beach cruisers and fun stuff, but there's some toughness there in Santa Barbara.
Where do you reside from originally?
I'm from Huntington Beach.
Okay.
But I do know Greater Southern California pretty well. As she has the ankle investigated. I mentioned the 19 points, 5 of 7 from the field, a couple of threes in that, 3 assists, pair of rebounds.
And she could have easily been one of our players of the game. She stepped up huge. I think her defense.
Right now the officials are trying to ascertain which player last hit the ball. They can go to the monitor for that. Decision made. Bulldog basketball. 27 seconds left in this second half. Shaniqua Nillis fouled, 77% free throw shooter. Really, you can say that about almost everybody on this Gonzaga team, though. And that's something that we've talked about as we work the regular season and into the conference championships together. Free throw shooting kind of globally was not very strong this year.
Yeah.
This team is strong.
Yeah.
It's so important.
And I don't think it's such a free throw shooting is such an interesting thing because there's great shooters and maybe they don't shoot that great from the free throw line. I think it's all mental. It's something that maybe it's repetition. And clearly Gonzaga, just mentally when they step up to the free throw line, they think they're gonna knock them down, and that's all that matters.
And they have certainly done that in this game, hovering around 84% from the free throw line in this first round contest. Jones for 3, short. George Washington cannot save the basketball. Bulldogs basketball.
I think this game really doesn't do Jonquel Jones justice of how good she is. And obviously playing through foul trouble is difficult, but the stage was set for her to really show just how good she is. But a tough day, but I mean, nonetheless, we saw glimpses of why she was the A-10 Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year.
And as a junior, so she will be back for her senior campaign next season, transferred from Clemson to come play for Sippis. Lauren Chase, her former high school teammate, also transferred from Maryland-Baltimore College. Jonathan Sippis has something going with George Washington. He said he learned from Muffet McGraw. Everything in the entire season leads to this point. You got to go with what got you there. And in a game like this, when your star gets into foul trouble, it kind of makes that tough to do.
You scramble. You're trying to figure out a different way to execute your game plan, which starts really with Washington and Jones. I think other role players stepped up at times. They just didn't have enough offensive firepower.
3 sophomores, a junior, and a senior in the Colonial starting lineup. They will be back next season for sure.
And at 80 points right now, Gonzaga, it's the most George Washington's allowed, and make that perhaps more than 80 points. That's the story of the game.
The other story, too, you can't deny 9 3-pointers for Gonzaga. This is a
shooting.
The Bulldogs only average about 4 3-pointers per game on the season, made 9 today. Shot this gym almost as if it was their home gym, just looked very comfortable. As well, the freshman at the line, Emma Wolfram, played more minutes than she's used to.
Well, they're 23-1, and they shoot a better shooting percentage than their opponent. And
that'll usually do it.
Especially from the three-point line. Something, maybe George Washington didn't account for.
4 players in double figures for Gonzaga. George Washington can't get a final shot to fall. We have another upset. 11-seed Gonzaga beats 6-seed George Washington. 4 players in double figures for the Bulldogs in an 82-69 win. Let's get it to Kevin in the studio.